Big news about the McFarland Mall property. There is possibility that it may see some improvements. The Tuscaloosa City Council's Finance Committee is considering an incentive package for the site.
College students from Yale, MIT, and other institutions in New York join in solidarity with the protests happening at Columbia University. Find out why Jewish students say they are facing harassment. WVUA 23 News starts right now.
This is WVUA 23 News.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Rachel Seal.
And I'm Tori Stinser. Our top story tonight. The McFarland Mall property will soon see some new development. Stan Pate has owned the McFarland Mall property since 2009, and Pate says he is ready to rebuild the area. His new project is called Encore. The mall has been left untouched due to ongoing leases that needed to come to an end so the new development could start on a clean slate. Pate said that he is excited about what could potentially come to the area and how the community will react.
I think we're going to have some hotels, a lot of restaurants, a lot of things that people have been asking for. I just had a call about doing a Dave & Buster's potentially on the site. That'll get people excited.
It's just a landmark that needs to be revitalized, and thankful for the owner who's all in, the city's all in, and I'm definitely all in. This is my district.
Councilman Lanier says incentives package will be discussed and possibly voted on tomorrow. The package will serve as the city's contribution towards the new development.
A Senate committee is trying to finalize a lottery bill, but it may not cross the finish line. Alabama lawmakers have 6 days left in the session. If the bill doesn't hit the governor's desk by then, it will veto automatically, or the governor can call a special session to keep discussions going and the bill alive. Representative Curtis Travis says this is Alabama's winning ticket to support existing needs and address the issue that Alabamians are already gambling, but they're crossing state lines to do it.
And these are ways of creating revenues without raising taxes on individuals. A good opportunity to help move our state forward, education, and it also is an opportunity to control something that's completely out of hand right now.
Lottery discussions are not new, but Representative Travis said one big difference between now and then is the House passed the bill and pushed it forward.
Volkswagen employees in Tennessee voted to join the United Auto Workers. This major breakthrough for the union happened Friday. 73% of the plant workers who cast ballots voted to join the union, and there was an 84% turnout. If the union wins the right to represent workers across most of the non-union auto plants, it could increase their leverage in future contract negotiations. The UAW says an election at the Mercedes plant in Vance is set to take place May 13th through the 17th. And high school seniors submitting applications for financial aid is down significantly this year. The National College Attainment Network says only 37% of seniors submitted an application for student aid compared to the 50% of last year's senior class. At this time, students must submit the application for eligibility for federal grants and loans. The government released a new version of the application this year, but reported delays, glitches, and some administrative mistakes. There is still time for students to submit their application, but May 1st college decision deadline is approaching quickly.
Pro-Palestinian demonstrations continue to break out at college campuses across the country. Students continued to protest at Columbia University on Friday, despite officers arresting some protesters Thursday. The White House issued a statement Sunday condemning anti-Semitism, while many students continue to show support for Palestine. Groups at Columbia say they want a ceasefire in Gaza. Some have even called for the death of Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. Similar protests occurred at other universities across the country, including Yale, where 47 were arrested.
I believe that the university can do better and must do better. Our demands are very clear. We would like Yale to disclose all of its investments.
Officers who responded to the protests at Columbia said all students who were arrested went peacefully and there were no injuries. President Biden signed the Reforming Intelligence and Securing America Act. It gives more reforms to protect American civil liberties while allowing the federal government to collect foreign intelligence information on non-U.S. citizens. The Senate reauthorized the 2-year extension ahead of its midnight deadline last Friday. The chamber voted 62-30 to pass the extension. Currently, Section 702 of the FISA Amendments Act allows the government to conduct targeted surveillance searches of foreigners located outside of the country. The extension now allows the government to order telephone companies, email, and internet service providers to give communications to acquire foreign intelligence information. The amendment also protects Americans from unconstitutional invasions of privacy by the government. Senators from both sides of the aisle debated the amendment, but the passage did have bipartisan support.
The U.S. House passed a foreign aid funding package to help Ukraine, Israel, and the Indo-Pacific region as they fight against American adversaries. Democrats cheered and waved Ukrainian flags on the House floor as the representatives passed a $95 billion foreign aid package last Saturday. Ukraine will receive $65 billion from one of the bills to continue its fight against Russia. Israel will receive $26 billion in wartime and humanitarian assistance. $8 billion will go towards the Indo-Pacific's region fight against China. 112 Republicans voted against the package. However, the bill also included GOP priorities, including sanctions on Iran and a possible TikTok ban. The Senate is set to combine the bills into a single amendment before sending it to President Biden.
Three of our primary adversaries, Russia and Iran and China, are working together, and they're being aggressors around the globe. And they're a global threat to our prosperity and our security.
President Biden urged Senate leaders to quickly send the amendment to him so he can sign it into law. The U.S. plans to withdraw its troops from Niger after the African country demanded for American military to leave. Secretary of State Kurt Campbell met with Nigerian Prime Minister Ali Lamin Zain last Friday to discuss the decision. The withdrawal impacts America's presence in Africa as Niger deepens relationships with Russia and Iran. The U.S. funded military operations in Niger since 2013. Zain said he wants to keep a relationship with the U.S. so American diplomats will remain in the country. U.S. officials said a date for when the withdrawal has not been set, but a plan should be made in the next few days.
And a disturbing situation took place outside a New York courthouse. Police say a man poured accelerant over his head Friday. It happened outside the building where the Trump criminal trial is taking place. Before starting the fire, the man threw pamphlets into the air and carried 2 signs. The police identified the man in his late 30s as Maxwell Azzarello.
He's on fire. Another area in the park where some of the accelerant spilt is also on fire. Civilians, court officers, members of the police department, they run into the park. They make efforts to put him out.
A senior law enforcement official announced Azzarello died Friday night.
City leaders in Wyoming, Ohio gave businesses and parks the green light to reopen following a train derailment. Members of CSX removed all of the damaged cars and placed them in a vacant lot. There are no reported injuries at this time. Emergency crews had to evacuate people within 500 feet of the derailment. They were allowed to back to their homes the following day. Locals felt the reason they put the evacuation order in place was reasonable.
To evacuate, but within 2 blocks, 500 feet, they recommended as a precaution that people evacuate.
City officials and CSX are still trying to investigate what could have caused the train derailing.
Some business owners in Minneapolis are upset about a new ordinance which would increase the cost of tobacco products. Minneapolis city councilors are meeting later this week to vote on tobacco laws. The current plan is to increase the minimum price for the purchase of tobacco products to $15. Health leaders hope the price increase will decrease tobacco use. Business owners say their input is ignored in this decision.
They haven't included the business community in any part of this decision-making process. It just gives that consumer more reasons not to stop in Minneapolis, but to stop in one of the outlying suburbs.
If the law passes, it would take effect December 1st. In addition, the changes would increase the first-time violation fine from $200 to $500 fines for not complying. Singer-songwriter Lionel Richie opened up a new park in his native home in East Alabama. WVUA 23 News reporter Alyssa Kelly joins us now live to tell us more about why he was so excited to turn his dream into a reality.
Rachel, that's right. A unique partnership between Richie and the Lowe's Corporation meant a new park for the singer's beloved hometown. Hello Park opened in Tuskegee Thursday. It's named after one of Richie's many hits, and it's located across from the campus of Tuskegee University, where he graduated in 1974. It's also near his childhood home. Richie says Tuskegee, its students, and the community hold a special place in his heart. He hopes the park will give people a place to meditate and reflect.
A place where I had to put my life together in terms of who do I want to be and where do I want to go. And I want this to be an example of, it starts right here in Tuskegee, but the whole world's waiting for you.
Richie plans to spend time at Hello Park from time to time and can understand why it holds a lot of history for the 74-year-old. While working on his story, I learned Richie spent a lot of his childhood years in Tuskegee campus with his grandparents. They lived in a house gifted to them by Booker T. Washington.
Thanks, Alyssa. That is an interesting historical fact. Hello Park is one of 100 community projects Lowe's will complete this year as part of its Hometowns project. It's a 5-year, $100 million commitment from the company to rebuild and revitalize community spaces nationwide.
The Chicago Police Department is still looking for their person of interest in the murder of an off-duty officer.
And coming up, see how Tuscaloosa is coming together for Earth Day. We will be back right after the break.